everyone, welcome back. I'm the Redheaded Witch. Today we're going to talk a little bit about protection magic for beginners. This was inspired by my last video because I talked about protection charms found in folk magic, but I think it's an important conversation to have about what is protection magic and why do we want to do protection magic, especially as we start forming our spiritual practice and casting our spells and tapping into witchcraft. Let's talk about why in the beginning of your spiritual practice, learning and casting protection magic for yourself is a great foundation. When we look at the history of witchcraft and folk magic, a theme that we repeatedly see throughout history is the importance of protecting the individual and their loved ones, their belongings, and their health. There was this deep fear of being bewitched by a local witch and having some sort of illness or hardship casted upon them, or maybe even it was the work of the devil himself. Because healthcare for their wellness and health was limited or unavailable at all, protection magic was something that was crucial to them and very important. And whether or not the common folk found it to be witchcraft, but instead visiting their local healer to get something crafted for them or have spoken charms for them and to protect the overall health. So protection magic is just how it sounds. It protects your energy from others as well as anything else. As a disclaimer, I do want to say that casting a protection spell doesn't necessarily make you immune to everything. So for example, if you're going to participate in dangerous activities, casting a spell of protection for yourself isn't going to necessarily make you invincible. I just feel like I have to go ahead and say that, although I know you all are smarter than that, but I just want to cover all my grounds, you know? Protection magic can be performed to increase the protection energy around you from any harm. This harm can be external energy surrounding yourself around individuals that might drain your energy a little bit more. It can even help protect you from even getting a little bit more sick, or if you're around individuals who are sick, to protect you from that. Now again, it doesn't make you absolutely immune, so you should still take care of yourself and to make safe decisions. Now, how do we perform protection magic? In my previous video, which I will try and see if I can put it somewhere. If not, it's the video before this. I did share some protection charms that are found in folk magic. A lot of these are either seals or squares or spoken words that you can say for protection, or there's also some handmade crafts that you can create and store at your altar or carry with you. But just like any other spell, it's entirely up to you and how you decide to perform this magic. So that can be with a candle, it can be with a spell bag. Again, it could be written words or spoken words. Depending on your personal practice, if you study a specific type of folk magic in a certain area of the world, based on your ancestors maybe, you might decide to do some research of folk magic for protection specific to that area. For example, the Rowan's Cross is a charm that is created for protection that can be found in Great Britain as well as in North America. So this is essentially twigs from a rowan tree that are binded together by red thread in the shape of a cross. As you bind the twigs together, you can speak about the protection that you will need for yourself to essentially charm the item for the intention of protection and then store it at your altar or carry it with you. Also, please excuse my cat because he's an orange tabby and he's very vocal. It just happens. So if you're a beginner witch, where should you start for protection magic? One of my recommendations is to create a protection spell bag. And this is going to be a spell that I will share on my Patreon if you're not sure how to go about it. Just to give you a little bit of inspiration, in case you're not a Patreon member, you can use corresponding herbs. So think about the herbs that you currently work with for protection, and if you don't work with any herbs, you may go ahead and start your research now about some plant lore. One of the most common plants that can be used for protection is rosemary. Rosemary is very accessible. You can find it at your local grocery store if you don't grow it or can't find it in the wild. Another accessible herb that you can use for protection is peppercorn. Peppercorns can also be found at your local grocery store. Think about what you already have in your kitchen cabinet and perhaps do a little bit of research about the plant lore behind these ingredients and see what you come up with. Might even get a little bit more craftier, and maybe you have a certain symbol that reminds you of protection. For example, if the lighthouse, for whatever reason, you have a personal story about what this means to you and you feel safe about it, because let's think about it, lighthouses guide boats to safety. You might decide to get like a charm of a lighthouse, and you might decide to enchant it with the intention of protection and store it in your spell bag. You can even make it as simple as writing a petition of "I am protected from any negative and ill will." Then fold a piece of paper towards you as you are wanting to attract this protection energy, and then store it in the spell bag. You can see there's so many different ways that you can go about creating your own personal protection spell bag, and where you decide to store it is totally up to you. You can place it above your bed for good sleeping. You can place it underneath your pillow if you want. You can even carry it around. Think of this protection spell as a shield around your energy. As you go about your day, remember that you are protected. I think a lot of it has to do with trusting yourself and your ability to perform this magic. Know that when you create a protection spell bag, it's going to work for you. If you have any other questions about protection magic, feel free to leave them in the comments. If you're not part of Patreon, I will have the link in my description as well, and I hope to see you there. Another fun little announcement is that Folkcraft Goods has launched this week. I have shared it on my Instagram as well as the Folkcraft Goods Instagram. I have reopened with our customer favorite Prosperity, which we're going to have forever now. Like it's part of the family. And then we added a new one called Passion. So Passion is crafted with rose and cardamom. These two ingredients work really well together. It's like a florally spice. I actually had it in my morning coffee today, and it's so good. It's so good. I'm really proud of it. And I actually made some Prosperity pancakes as well, because I had a really important meeting this morning and I needed a little bit of good luck. So as always, thank you so much for being here. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. Until then, I will see you in the next one.